I'm making this video in the memory of Martin Richard, Lindsay Liu, Christy Campbell, and Officer Sean Collier. They were the victims of the two brothers, Tamarin and Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. And now we say, oh God, thank God they got him. Thank God that they got Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. They got him alive in a boat at an address over on Franklin Street in Watertown, Massachusetts that we're never going to forget in our entire lives again, and is now a part of American lore. But what have we learned from all this? First of all, the media, okay? Information has traveled so fast that there are bound to be mistakes. This has happened before. I've talked about it before. It didn't matter if it was John King and his dark-skinned comment, or Chris Hayes from MSNBC making fun of CNN, or Pete Williams of NBC standing tall and showing restraint. The bottom line is information traveled rapidly. Reddit, big hero. But also, think of what we were told even through the use of Reddit. First of all, the suspects were not Tamarin and Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. They were Mike Maguglia and Zuli Trapani, who still is missing. And then the Associated Press came forward and said, it's not Trapani, it's Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. And we said, we don't have any evidence of that. It was crazy. And all this transpired within the last 36 hours, if you think about it. And then we had the incidents, which when we were first heard about them, they seemed like three separate ones. Remember? First we had Officer Sean Collier shot, taken the Mass Journal, passed away. Really sad. Rest in peace. But that was separate, and they said the suspect who was white got away. That was on the police scanner, which is online. Then we had another incident which seemed separate to, again, the police scanner. Police said dark-skinned Middle Eastern guys eventually getting into a gun battle with police. And then there was reports that they had bombs, and on the scanner, police said to other police, hey, turn off your cell phone. We don't want to activate any bombs around there. That got transferred to Twitter, and suddenly Drew Griffin at CNN says, hey, look, no one told me to turn off my cell phone. It wasn't for him. What happened was that there were so many of us listening to scanners and putting this on Twitter and blogs and every place else that others picked it up and thought that the message about turning off the cell phone applied to everybody, when it all started on a scanner with one police officer talking to another. So then we had the idea that this is going on, but you still have the suspect that shot the cop away off somewhere. And why? Because I'll tell you, again, the police officers had said this guy who shot Sean Collier was white, yet the other two were dark-skinned Middle Eastern guys. So you couldn't put them together because no one said, well, they're not the same people. And others were saying, they're not the same people. These are, in some case, in the MIT case, this is not the Boston Marathon bomber. Turned out that was wrong. But it took us a number of rounds of social media information transfer as Dzhokhar Tsarnaev was making his way through Watertown for us to discover that. And you know what? That's okay. We got it right. We're going to get it right eventually. And this is going to happen, and we have to get used to this because I've said this before, information travels so fast in today's social media site. This is the new layer of media that we've never seen anything like it. And something else, this new layer of media has exposed how mainstream media really has a problem with this, its standard tried and true habit of calling a person and relying on that source, as opposed to relying on a mechanical source, which is a police officer talking into a scanner, and we're hearing the scanner, so we're getting it directly from the horse's mouth, right? So guess who has the law enforcement source? We do, and our law enforcement source is better than the mainstream media's law enforcement source, but the mainstream media doesn't have the honesty to say, hey, you know what? This is what Twitter says. This is what the scanner says. It's got to do that. Journalism has to change to come into the 21st century, but that's another story. The bottom line is that also we have to thank Governor Deval Patrick, the people of Boston, President Obama, our healer-in-chief, Boston law enforcement, just everybody for working together, no arguments, one single objective with a lot of goals that led to it, and we accomplished it. We did it. And everybody, what's wild about, I'm going to make another video on this because there's a lot more that I want to say, but I want to get that out of the way. That's what I have to say about it, and please, don't give me this tired Muslim crap. Just be proud to be an American.